Hey, it's Origin Stories with Trae Bohlen. And you guys know I love new beginnings, fresh starts, the pivot. And I'm so excited to introduce you to my friend Michael and let him share a little bit about what he does. Hey,
Yeah.
Mike.
Hi, Trey. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm Mike Abramowitz. I'm co-founder of a company called BraidIt, BraidIt, with an exclamation mark. And our product is all about helping organizations create community-led content strategies. So really bringing forth the voice of their customers, their team, other experts, footage it from events, and using that to build a content calendar that sort of consistently amplifies those voices.
Well, that's why I was excited to have you on because that's what I help people do, storytelling, crafting the story. And how interesting is it to think about the way that your story could be crowdsourced or amplified based on who you're working with, based on your customers, your clients, their excitement, their enthusiasm for what you're doing to help people, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. That's like the way we think about it. It's consumers actually connect more with authentic voices, and it's really, really difficult and expensive to actually collect those voices and feature them in your content. So there's
Yeah.
this sort of disconnect with the volume of authentic content you need to actually create that high impact content with your content marketing and the actual process of collecting and publishing it. And that's what we really have streamlined and make easy. And businesses, nonprofits, all sorts of organizations love it because they really get to feature the beneficiaries of their products, put their teams forward, front and center, and do it in a way that's really, really authentic. Do it in a way that actually connects with their potential prospects and deepens relationships with existing customers. Yeah.
Right, right. Because what connects better than a story and what connects deeper than someone you're already working with? I know that I have raving fans and I want to put them front and center in front of everybody. And that's what your product helps people to do. So, what inspired you to kind of take on this kind of work?
Yeah, it's a problem that my co-founder and I actually felt in another business that we had started together. So my background, I've done a whole bunch of different technology startups, and at the last one we were doing, we tried to take it to the market right during the COVID lockdowns. And
Uh,
yeah, well, not a good time. But as the world was shutting down, we were like, okay, how are we going to market this product? Let's try to use video. Let's try to feature like our team members, our customers. Let's collect this content and try to create sort of a presence on social media with it, because that was the only place anyone was able to meet anyone. And when we set out to do it, we really had a horrible time and created a bunch of really embarrassing content, and it didn't really work for us. So we were thinking, okay, this is actually a really very real problem, and probably every business on earth right now knows they need to be doing this. And if you ask really anyone, are you creating enough content? Do you feel like you're doing a great job with it? Pretty much everyone says no. But what's the gap? And the gap that we found is it's really being able to just collect the raw video primarily of people that you want to feature in your content, right? So getting them on
yeah.
camera, being evangelist for your product, getting your team talking about what it's like to be part of building this company or being a part of what it means to provide great customer service, and using that and putting it front and center in your content strategy. So like we actually built the product that we wanted, which and continue to build the product that
Yeah.
we want. And it's resonated with a lot of people.
Well, and that's the dream, right? To have your raving fans creating the content for you. User generated content is through the roof right now. Everywhere you turn, people are saying, hey, hire me to do your
Yeah.
user generated content. And this is a way to really streamline that process, have it organized, have it all come to you in the way that you want it specifically. So I am curious, when you started out, you said that you were in tech.
Mm.
Did you ever dream that you would do anything like this?
Oh yeah, always.
Wow.
I come from like an entrepreneurial family, so it's sort of in our DNA. Like my
Same.
grandfather, father, so we don't even like you know we don't even think about doing anything else other than like,
Right.
yeah. And for me personally, it was always what I wanted to do, and have gone. I've done several different products, several different businesses, some successful, most not. And what I found with this one is it's really, if you experience a pain, a lot of other people are probably experiencing the same pain point. And if you can
Yeah.
solve that problem and do it in a great way, you're going to have some success. And that's,
Yeah.
our journey to get to where we're at now was not linear. It wasn't linear with the product, wasn't linear with anything we're doing, but and I can talk about that a little bit if you like. But
Right. Well, actually, sometimes it's good to kind of think about the failure because we want to fail forward.
yeah,
I don't know about you, but when I've experienced something that was like, oh, that didn't work, you kind of like take it apart and see why it didn't work.
yeah.
I'm curious, do you have any examples of that with BraidIt where it was like, oh, that was a failure, but you learned a lot from that?
100%, and every day, honestly, if we're being honest with each other. But the very first iteration of this product was actually a social media app. I don't know if you know that, but we had built it
No.
to be sort of short form video exchanges between people that took place in public. So like you and I, instead of doing like a live recording, you would ask me a short question with a 15-second video, and it'd be public for the world to see. And then
Well, that's a
whenever I got,
cool idea, though.
yeah, it was very cool. And I loved the product. And I could respond to it, and then we made it
Yeah.
public where everyone could respond to it. And like a couple of things happened with that. So we built it. Very, very cool, very fun. We saw a
Yeah.
lot of really interesting exchanges occur on the platform.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then, but right as that was starting to grow was when the Silicon Valley Bank failure happened, and like all of the venture capital money was just like gone, and not even like they literally thought it was gone. Like so,
Yeah. Yeah.
and my as we were growing that, we started to see like how expensive it was going to be to actually market it, and there's a really
Mhm.
long path to revenue because you need a huge audience, and then you need advertisers.
Mhm.
And so there was just this moment where we're like, okay, this isn't going to work without a ton of revenue or a ton of venture capital behind it, and that's not likely to happen for the next 6 months. Even if we were doing incredibly well, it's just not there right now in this climate. But at that same moment, we had businesses asking to use what we had created for their content marketing, just not in the social product. And
Mm.
that's we basically were like, that, which was the original genesis for the idea. I was like, okay, let's use this to create content.
Yeah.
And so we sat I remember sitting in like a hotel lobby with like the people involved and saying like, okay, we either gotta go in this direction, or we're probably this business is gonna be totally done.
Right.
And
Right. It's amazing how the pivots, right? Where
yeah,
you start out doing one thing and you're like, well, maybe this is a better fit for this.
exactly. And we went through a literal pivot and spent several months rebuilding what we had around this new idea, and talking to tons of people, like anyone that'll talk to us, and getting feedback and trying to improve the product, making sure that it actually fulfilled its value proposition, like, and have really sort of in the past couple months gotten there. And now it's starting to get adoption, and people are sticking with it and getting value. And it's fun to be on social media and see video content or other content that we know originated from our product. You know what I mean? And
Right.
just seeing it organically in our feeds and say, like, wow, we helped facilitate that for someone who wasn't creating content before. And now they actually can do so pretty easily. So tough journey with a pivot, but it
Right.
works out. Yeah.
I feel like the pivots can be hard if you take them personally.
Yeah.
Sometimes the thing just doesn't work. And I've had instances where, the feedback was like, this was bad, didn't work, didn't fit. Ah. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I remember crying. I'm emotional, so I'm like crying. And you can either sit in that crying, or you can say, okay, feedback received. How can I change it? How can I make it better? Let's
Yeah.
move forward with the feedback instead of staying in the crying. And I
Yeah.
think people can get stuck sometimes, and I think that's shows that we're like tough entrepreneurs, because the entrepreneur journey is not, like you were saying, linear, right? It's not like woo,
No. No, it's a
up and down
marathon.
moments.
I think the the word I like is resilience.
Yeah.
And it's just, you keep going. And I don't think like failure it does hurt. So
Yeah.
there's no reason like why you shouldn't take that minute and cry and feel bad and feel like the wind got knocked out of you. But the resilience is getting back up and keeping going.
Yes.
And I think what separates entrepreneurs from everyone else is that they're able to get back up and keep going. And even just like they got to the starting line to begin with and try. Most people just don't even ever
Yes.
do anything,
Yes.
Yeah. So there's
I don't know if you've heard that statistic that talks about like businesses usually fail within the first 3 to 5 years, and it's the ones that stick it out,
mm,
the ones that stand the test of time. I always think about the light bulb, right? Like how many different times did Edison make the light bulb and it did not work? You
yeah,
know, that stick to itness, that's resiliency.
that's what it takes. And it takes you take each failure, get closer, get closer, get closer, and then you find something that's going to actually create value for people. And that's what it's all about. Like you build something that will make people's lives better. You provide a
Yes.
service that will make people's lives better. And you need to iterate your way to knowing exactly what that is, but also who gets the most benefit out of what you're creating.
Mm.
And then once you've done that, everything kind of flows from there. But that
Yes.
process to get there is not fun.
Exactly. Exactly. It's hard work. Being a
Yeah,
business owner is hard work. And the overnight sensations usually had a lot of
yeah,
back end work that you don't see. There's no instant fame. You see American Idol or, all these shows where it seems like instant fame, but there's hours of work going on behind the scenes that we don't get to see when someone's honing their craft.
yeah, it's exactly right. And yeah, that's what I try to tell my kids, honestly. It's like, you got if you want to be good at something, that's the path you have to go on. You have to be willing to be bad. You have to be willing to take all those
Mm.
failures along the way, but get up and keep going. And that's how you do get that breakout success or do become actually excellent at something. And it's
Yes.
yeah.
There's only so many prodigies in the world, right? It's a very, very rare thing. But I think today we want instant. We want it
Yeah.
now. We want to be good at something. I mean, that's why I don't play the piano or an instrument, and I'm a singer because it already came out sounding pretty decent. So I didn't have to do too much work. I'll confess, I like the easy. So tying that into what you do, how does BraidIt help make it easier for your clients? I
Yeah,
feel like it's an easy button, right?
it
What's the
really
process of
is.
creating a BraidIt? Maybe I should ask that.
Yeah, it couldn't be easier. We look at it as making it easier to source, record, edit, and publish content. So the sourcing is that first part, which really is the biggest bottleneck to an effective content marketing strategy. So being able to source authentic voices from your customers, team, and experts. So we do that. The user actually just creates a prompt and they create a braid, which acts as a container for responses. So when you create a braid, you get a link or a QR code, and you can share out with whomever you want. And when they have that link, they click on it, they see the question, they can actually see a video of you asking that question and providing instructions, and then they respond. So record, stop, upload, and then you start to develop this catalog of short form video that you can combine, edit, and publish to all of your social channels. So we have a built-in video editor, we have a built-in content calendar, you can link all of your socials, and yeah, it's really until you've ever tried to do it yourself, you don't realize how much work it really is. And
Exactly.
we just make it really that easy. And where we're taking the product over the next month or two is basically for every response you collect, you can create derivative assets. So using AI, you can take, like if my response is, I love Trace photography, you can take that and turn it into tweets, turn it into images, turn it into blog posts, turn it into newsletters, and just based on the moment that you've captured on video, create enough content to reinforce the message in a way that aligns with the volume you need to kind of drill a message into your audience's head on social. Yeah.
That is so powerful, especially in such a content driven world right now where people are like, what do I do today? What do I put on my socials? How do I have more to share? I don't have any more to share. I'm
Yeah.
drained. And for those business owners who maybe they're a solo entrepreneur, they don't have a giant marketing team, they can't do it all themselves. This really helps them to have more DIY. And that's why I love having BraidIt as a part of what I offer to my clients, because then I can help with the braids and help with the marketing. I can control it all. I can send it all out for you, edit it, do all the things. Or it can just be another stream for them to be able to utilize with however they want to do it if they want a little more of that hands on.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, a lot of agencies embrace the product to actually create really a whole new sort of offering that they couldn't have done previously for their clients. So if they were going to do all of this sort of content creation for a client, it would be cost prohibitive to do it without the
Yes.
workflow we make available. And then we do see businesses embracing it on their own and just being able to, okay, I can actually do this. All I need is a couple of questions that sort of represent my brand and what I want to tell people about my product. And even if it's just the founder using the product themselves and recording a bunch of their own videos, there's enough content there for the next, to create a month's worth of on-brand messaging that's sort of dripped into feeds over time. Yeah.
That's amazing. How do you see BraidIt shaping the world? I feel like there's certain things that come along that really like change everything, and I feel like social media platforms, Facebook has changed everything. There are different things that have really started to shape the world. How do you see BraidIt helping shape the world?
Yeah, I think it's empowering those businesses to have a presence on social that actually creates some results for them without being this sort of monkey on your back, right?
Mm,
And that's what we really love. We're both entrepreneurs from entrepreneurial families as co-founders, and sort of like the idea of empowering small businesses to be effective on social without having to spend a ton of money and without having to be this sort of thing like what am I going to post today? Let's just take a photo of
yes,
that plant and say something inspirational. It's not.
right.
Yeah, we take that risk way. You just have to engage with your community. Say, hey, we'd love to feature you in our content. Could you just respond to this prompt? What did you love about your experience? And then we'll post you on social. And your advocates, the people who actually love your brand, will obviously do that for you. And then you've got the content you need. It's basically like referrals on steroids. It's not just word of mouth. You have a 10x ability to create word of mouth through social media. You just have to be willing to use it.
Yes, it really helps that referral base to grow.
Yeah.
Everybody, back in the olden days, that's how everybody did everything, right? Word of mouth referrals were worth its weight in gold. And it feels like that was kind of diminishing. And that's what I really see BraidIt helping, is to kind of establish that like referrals are never going to go away, but maybe there's a new way to do them.
Yeah, 100%. The referral today is somebody in your Instagram story or on your Facebook feed on video saying, I love your product. And then when you tag them, they repost into their feed. And now their
Exactly.
2,000 people will see them endorsing your business. And if it's local, it's going to go 10 times better because people love supporting their local businesses.
So true. You know, as we're kind of wrapping up here, I love to ask people, what's your best advice to give an entrepreneur, or maybe someone like you who has a tech dream, who's where you were years ago? Do you have any advice for them?
Oof. I need the advice. Do they have advice for me? I would
Don't
no.
we all?
If I had to give advice to anyone starting an entrepreneurial journey, it's just to be prepared for a long, humbling journey,
Mm,
and then but at the same token for that, the reward really needs to be the satisfaction you're giving your customers.
yeah.
Like that is the fuel. And if you can find that what you are doing and what you are creating actually benefits people's lives, puts a smile on their face, makes them at ease, that's the fuel to keep you going. And just look for that everywhere you can get it. Even on
Hmm.
the early days when you're just experimenting with an idea, talk to people and figure out who are the ones that do light up when you talk to about it, actually lean in and are like, wow, that's actually pretty interesting, as opposed to the people that are like, wait, what, what am I doing here? So it helps you find your customer, it helps you find the people you can make their lives better, and that's what business is really about. If you're not doing that, don't even try to start a business. And if you don't want to do that, definitely don't try to start a business. Yeah.
Such great advice. You have to have a why that's bigger than money,
Yeah.
you know. And I love that that's your advice. If you could, here's another fun one. Let's see how you do with it. If you can sum up what you do in less than 20 words, can you do that?
Yeah, for sure. We empower community-led content strategies that let you feature your customers, team, and other experts in your content marketing. Put your content marketing at ease with BraidIt.
That's amazing. I feel like you might have practiced that before a time or two.
So come up once or twice. Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining me. This was an awesome interview. I will leave links in the description for how to find you, how to get connected. Where do you prefer people to find you? Just through the links?
Yeah, I'm very active on LinkedIn. We use the product quite a bit for my own content. So follow me on LinkedIn if you want to see a lot of Braid examples of video content, and you'll see
Awesome.
me talking. Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining me. This has been such a great interview. I hope you all enjoyed this origin story.